Welcome to the True Assassins podcast. Today we're, going deep, really deep into the dark world of murder.
Yeah.
And for this one, we're taking inspiration from the truly awesome and super dark stories we found in Orlando Madsbrine's book, True Kill. You guys, the listeners, shared some seriously fascinating and really dark material with us. And, well, we've kind of boiled it down to like the most important, thrilling bits just for you.
Exactly. We're going to, in this session, really break down what makes these killers tick, right? Their motivations, their techniques, and of course, how it all ends for them.
Right.
Two very different types of assassins, really.
Yeah.
One, driven by good old-fashioned greed, and revenge. Pretty classic stuff, but still pretty disturbing. The other, well, he delves into some pretty intense dark magic.
Ooh.
With some seriously scary and, totally unexpected consequences.
Oh, I bet.
We'll be exploring all of that, what drives them, the risks they take, and, well, the ultimate price they pay for their, choices.
Yeah. Okay, so, let's jump right into our first story, shall we? We're calling it Flint's Curse. This one takes us into the world of, well, I think a lot of you will recognize him, Long John Silver.
Oh, yeah?
But, this time, he's not just a pirate or a cook.
Right.
He's like this laser-focused assassin. He's hunting down his old crewmates. And what's driving this, deadly obsession? Captain Flint's buried treasure, of course.
Of course, classic.
The story, well, it starts with the death of Billy Bones. And we get to see, right inside Silver's head.
Inner workings.
Yeah, every death, it's just another step toward that, that sweet, sweet gold. What, what really stood out to you about how Silver is, portrayed at the start?
I think it's that transformation you mentioned. He's gone from, just a pirate wanting treasure to, this instrument of vengeance. And greed, obviously.
Yeah.
Billy Bones' death, it's not like some random thing. It's a calculated move in Silver's, in his plan. And how he sees himself, right? Ship's cook turned treasure hunter. Or, actually, he says executioner is more like it.
Ooh, that's dark.
Yeah, it really sets the tone for the whole thing, don't you think?
Totally. And it's not just about, being tough and strong with Silver, is it?
No, not at all.
The story, it really shows how clever he is, how he manipulates people.
Oh, yeah.
We see it with, the knife and the brawl, all those accidental gunpowder explosions. I mean, you can practically see him, right, with this little smirk on his face.
No, right? Scheming away.
Yeah, as he sets up all these accidents and the way he, whispers these lies to turn blind Pew against Flint.
Oh, that's classic Silver.
Classic Silver, right. He's playing the long game. He's using, the fact that everyone thinks he's just an old one-legged sailor.
Yeah.
To hide his, deadly intentions. What does that tell us about, power in that kind of crazy world?
I mean, Silver's success, especially early on, I think, it really shows how, how a weakness, if people think it's a weakness, can be used against them.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you're, smart and deceitful about it. His physical limitations, they become like a tool.
Wow.
Yeah, they make his targets let their guard down. And that name his crewmates give him, right? Silver's Curse, that trail of bodies he leaves behind.
Ooh, spooky.
It really shows the fear and paranoia he creates. He's like almost a legend.
Like a boogeyman.
Yeah, a figure of, pirate folklore, grim folklore.
For sure. And as the story goes on, we see these, key moments.
Right.
Like with Israel Hands, marooned, driven totally mad. The text, it says, kind of coldly that it was a fitting end for a trigger-happy maniac.
Chilling.
It's chilling, right. There's, no remorse from Silver, just this brutal justification for what he does. What does that tell us about, the morals of these characters, the world they live in?
Well, I think if we look at the whole story, it really shows how brutal and unforgiving their world is. It's like they're always living on borrowed time.
Right.
And Silver, he's just like the one who makes that time run out. That fitting end comment. It's almost like a twisted version of survival of the fittest, right?
Yeah.
Only the most ruthless, the most cruel, they get to live in that pirate world.
Then there's Blind Pew.
Oh, yeah.
His loyalty, well, ends up being, what gets him killed, doesn't it?
Right.
Silver, he uses that loyalty, twists it, to his advantage,
Eh,
and then sets up that, that accident.
clever but cold.
It shows how Silver can prey on, like, even the good things in people, the virtues.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if loyalty can even exist in a world like that,
Totally. It makes you question the whole idea of, like, can you even trust anyone in that world? Is loyalty even possible when everyone's just looking out for themselves?
And the ambush at the inn.
Oh, yeah.
That scene, it really paints this picture of how paranoid and desperate Silver's targets are. They know he's coming. This, this relentless force.
Like a force of nature.
Yeah. And their plan to attack first, well, it's fueled by fear and probably a lot of rum. It's messy and it fails. 2 more of them die in all the chaos.
It shows you, like, how Silver's reputation has this power, right? Yeah. This fear factor.
Yeah.
And did you notice how Silver's crutch becomes like a weapon in that fight?
Oh, yeah.
It's just another example of how he uses everything, even things that seem like disadvantages to, get what he wants. It's brutal.
It is. And then we get to, like, the final showdown, right? With Ben Gunn on the island. After all the planning, all the killing, it comes down to this.
And final battle.
Yeah. The story tells us how Gunn's, like, kind of crazy from being alone for so long, but he's still, ready to fight to survive. And even in their duel, there's that last act of betrayal, right? Gunn's hidden dagger. It just shows how deeply betrayal is, like, part of their world. What do you think that duel says about, can you ever escape that kind of life?
I think that duel with Ben Gunn, it's like the whole story, like condensed,
Yeah.
It's brutal, personal, and full of deception right to the very end. That hidden dagger says it all, doesn't it? They can't trust anyone. Betrayal is just, it's always there.
Always lurking.
Yeah. I think it says that once you're in that world, it's almost impossible to escape that treachery.
And then they finally open the treasure chest, right? The moment they've all been working towards. But instead of, piles of gold and jewels, there's just that note from Flint, his last laugh.
That's a twist.
It is. You can practically feel their greed and anticipation just vanish. What was your reaction when you read that?
I thought it was brilliant. It shows that Flint's, like, influence, his malice, it goes on even after he's dead. It's this last act of revenge. And it makes you think, was all that bloodshed even worth it? Maybe the treasure was the damnation they brought on themselves,
And then, like, almost as if it's, fate, the island itself reacts. The volcano erupts, triggered by Flint's trap. The treasure, the reason they did all these terrible things, it's swallowed up by the earth. It's pretty ironic. What do you make of all that destruction at the end?
I think the volcano, it's like a huge symbol.
Yeah.
It's like the island itself is rejecting that treasure, that, that greed. It's like a cleansing, a violent cleansing.
Wow.
It shows that greed, that kind of insatiable greed, it just leads to total destruction.
And in the middle of all this fiery chaos, Silver has this, like, moment of clarity. He realizes how messed up the gold is, how their greed turned them into monsters, and how it led to their doom. It's like he sees himself for a second. Do you think that, that makes up for anything he did?
I think that moment,
Yeah.
Silver's realization, it's powerful, but it's too late, He sees the damage their greed caused, how they became these horrible things, but it doesn't erase all the killing he did.
Yeah.
It's more like a sad understanding of how pointless it all was.
Okay, so let's move on to our second story now. This one's called The Necromancer's Mark. It's about a very different kind of assassin.
This one's interesting.
Yeah. This guy, he uses dark magic, these blood sigils, to, make his kills more effective.
Blood magic.
Yeah. And he thinks that every time he kills, he gets stronger, like he's tapping into some dark power.
Yeah.
What do you think about, him using magic instead of, normal weapons?
I think it's definitely different from the first story. More supernatural. The blood sigils, the magic, it takes things to a whole new level. It suggests he's willing to, like, mess with forces he doesn't understand to get what he wants,
Yeah.
More power, better kills. It makes you wonder, where did he learn all this? And what are the risks?
And there is a big problem with what he's doing, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
These sigils, they're from these ancient forgotten books. And as the story says, they were never meant for the living.
Ooh, that's creepy.
The dead themselves, they become his teachers, showing him how wrong he is. It's a pretty unsettling idea. What do you think that phrase means, never meant for the living?
It implies that He's messed up big time. He's playing with forces that are like way beyond him. It's like he's trying to control something that belongs to the realm of the dead. And, well, it's not going to end well. Maybe the dead have a different idea of what power is, you know?
Yeah. And then the first Revenant appears, the Duke. He comes back, but not as a ghost. He's this monster.
Yeah.
Powered by the assassin's magic. It shows how wrong what he's doing is. It's not just about killing, it's about twisting life and death into something monstrous. What do you think that transformation represents?
I think it shows just how corrupting the assassin's magic is.
Yeah.
It's not a natural resurrection. It's like he's making a mockery of life and death. He's taking the life force he stole and twisting it into something unnatural and, well, evil.
And things get really bad really fast. The assassin, he was the hunter, but now he's the one being hunted.
Norma.
Yeah, he's marked by this darkness.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. And it makes him like a target for his victims. His house, it becomes this hunting ground. He's the prey now.
It's a complete role reversal.
What does that tell us about the dangers of, playing with that kind of power?
It's a classic case of, be careful what you wish for. The power he wanted, it backfires spectacularly. It's a warning, right? Power from those dark sources, it can turn on you. It can trap you in your own nightmare.
He tries to find a counterspell, right, to save himself. But the old books, they don't have any answers. Because this isn't just a curse. It's like he's broken the rules of life and death. And he's the one who did it. He created his own nightmare.
That's scary.
What does that tell us about the magic he's using, the fact that there's no easy fix?
It shows that some things you just can't undo. It's not like a curse you can break with a ritual.
Mm-hmm.
He's changed reality itself. It highlights the danger of messing with forces we don't understand. There's no, undo button.
Yeah. And the way he runs, he's desperate, trying to escape these creatures. It's chilling. And his weapons, his normal weapons, they don't work.
Of course not.
He's up against something way beyond a normal fight.
Beyond human comprehension.
How does that make the story even more terrifying?
Well, because it makes you realize he's totally out of his depth.
Right.
He's stepped into this world where the normal rules don't apply. He's facing something ancient, evil, something you can't fight with guns and knives. It's a whole different level of horror.
Then we learn what the Revenants really are. It's not just revenge that drives them.
It's something more.
It's this emptiness, this darkness that's attached to his magic.
Like a parasite.
Yeah. They're like extensions of the darkness he unleashed.
Yeah.
It's not personal anymore. It's like a force of evil. How does that change how we see the threat?
It makes it way more terrifying.
Yeah.
It's not just, some ghosts who want revenge. It's something bigger, darker, driven by this hunger that goes beyond anything human.
And the order he belongs to, their reaction, it's pretty telling.
Right.
They don't try to help him.
Wow.
They just want to contain the damage. They see him as the problem.
He's a liability.
Yeah, he's dangerous, someone they need to, get rid of to protect themselves. What does that tell us about, this secret organization and what they think about forbidden magic?
I think it shows that even in a group that probably deals with dark stuff all the time, there are limits.
Yeah.
He went too far.
Right.
His magic, it's a threat to them, to their secrets, maybe even to the world.
Yeah.
It shows that they have rules, even if they're, maybe hypocritical.
But even though everything's against him, even though his own people have abandoned him, he still chooses to fight. Like, this last stand against the darkness he created. What do you think that is? Bravery? Desperation, or something else?
I think it's partly his instinct.
Yeah.
He's an assassin. He fights.
Yeah.
Even when there's no hope.
Right.
But I also think it's maybe he wants to make things right.
Redemption.
Yeah, like a final act of defiance against the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of his old self maybe shining through.
And his final act, it's a huge gamble.
Oh yeah.
He channels all that power, the sigils, inwards. He sacrifices himself in this explosion of dark energy. It's like he's trying to undo everything he did wrong. What did you think about that sacrifice?
It's a tragic end, but maybe it was the only way.
Yeah.
He realizes he's the source of the evil.
Right.
And the only way to stop it is to destroy himself.
Yeah.
It's a terrible kind of redemption, but it's powerful.
And it works.
It does.
The Revenants, they vanish. His sacrifice, as awful as it is, it stops the threat. What's the overall feeling you get from that ending?
Relief, I guess.
Yeah.
But also, sadness. He had to die to
Yeah.
fix what he did. But it makes you think, what about the bigger picture? Did he really destroy the darkness or just, hold it back for a while?
And his last thought, it's this warning about the dangers of wanting power you don't understand, about the darkness that's out there.
A cautionary tale.
It's a powerful message. What's the biggest takeaway for you from his story?
That some knowledge is dangerous.
Yeah.
That if you chase power without understanding it, it can destroy you and maybe everyone else too. Some doors are better left closed.
So, thinking about both of these stories from True Kill, what do they tell you about assassins, about the world they live in, whether it's normal or magical?
Right.
We see how greed, revenge, wanting power, it can all end badly and in ways you don't expect. In one story, the killer is he's defeated by a dead man's trick.
Right.
And in the other, the assassin's magic, it brings about his own doom.
It's like they destroy themselves.
Think about why they did what they did. Was it just about the treasure or the perfect kill, or was there something more? And the fact that they both fail, what does that say about, the dark path they chose? Is there something self-destructive about it, no matter how they go about it?
Good questions.
Thank you for joining us on the True Assassins podcast today. We hope you enjoyed this, deep dive into these creepy stories. We really hope they gave you something to think about. What parts, really stuck with you? What questions are you left with? We encourage you to, explore these themes, maybe even read True Kill yourself.
It's a good read.
And don't forget to rate and follow our show for more addictive cloak and dagger stories from the world of, murder, hitmen, and assassins.